infant first encounters a mirror, it does not see what you or I see. It does not recognize a unified body, a cohesive self, or a me looking back. No, the infant sees fragments, a hand here, a face there, fleeting, unfamiliar sensations mirrored without meaning. This moment is profoundly raw, a state of being unfiltered by language, culture, or conditioning. And yet, from this innocent fragmentation begins a journey into the world of constructed identities and societal expectations. What was once a neutral perception of existence becomes a carefully curated performance for the world. Jacques Lacan would describe this infant gazing into the mirror as standing at the threshold of the mirror stage. At this point, the child experiences a fundamental misrecognition. The reflection in the mirror appears whole, unified, even ideal. But this perception contrasts with the child's fragmented bodily experiences. The child begins to identify with this image, believing it to be the self, and in doing so steps into the alienation that defines human existence. This moment marks the birth of the ego, a construct shaped not by the infant's internal reality but by external appearances. And so begins the lifelong tension between what we are and what we think we are. Merleau-Ponty would argue that the infant's pre-mirror experience is a pure relationship with the world. Before the mirror stage, the body is not an object to be observed but a lived, embodied experience. The child exists in a pre-reflective state where boundaries between self and world blur. Over time, society interrupts this seamless experience, teaching the child to see the body as an object, something to be displayed, judged, and controlled. The child no longer is the body, but has a body, a subtle but profound shift that alters its entire perception of existence. As the child grows, societal conditioning intensifies. Michael Foucault would tell us that this conditioning is not accidental but deliberate. Societies create systems to regulate and discipline bodies, shaping them into objects of control and utility. The gaze of society, constant and omnipresent, teaches the child to monitor itself. The body becomes a site of performance, a canvas for societal norms, a display for approval or rejection. In this Foucauldian world, the body is no longer a vessel for being but a tool for conforming. Simone de Beauvoir reminds us that this societal gaze is not uniform. For women, the body is doubly burdened. Transformed into an object for the male gaze, the child learns not just to exist but to be seen, and to be seen in a certain way. What begins as a neutral body becomes a battleground for societal expectations, where appearance outweighs essence. Beauvoir's insight into this conditioning underscores the depth of alienation that the body suffers under social constructs. Jean-Paul Sartre would add that as the child grows, it becomes acutely aware of being observed by others. This awareness changes everything. The body, once experienced subjectively, is now seen through the eyes of others, a transformation Sartre calls being for others. The child starts to perform, to shape its identity not from within but in response to the imagined judgments of others. The body becomes less a home and more a stage. But what if this alienation is not inevitable? What if the infant's original fragmented perception holds a deeper truth? In Advaita Vedanta, the idea of a cohesive self is nothing but Maya, an illusion. The infant's fragmented view aligns with the ultimate reality, where the body and ego are transient constructs, not the eternal Atman. As the child grows, societal conditioning reinforces the illusion, making the body and identity appear real and permanent. Liberation, however, lies in realizing that this self is false and that the body is a fleeting aspect of existence, not its essence. Buddhism echoes this truth with its teaching of anatta, the doctrine of no self. The infant, unaware of a cohesive identity, lives closer to this truth than the socially conditioned adult. The body and the self are mere aggregates, impermanent and ever changing. Yet, as the child matures, it clings to the illusion of a stable self, binding itself to suffering. To see the body not as an object but as a process is to begin the path toward liberation. Zen Buddhism offers a practice of returning to what it calls the beginner's mind. The fragmented perception of the infant is not a limitation but a purity of awareness, free from judgment and conditioning. The socially conditioned adult, however, must unlearn layers of identity to rediscover this state of openness. The Zen master might ask, "Can you look in the mirror and see not a body, not a self, but simply being?" Taoism teaches that the infant, unburdened by social constructs, lives in harmony with the Tao, the natural flow of existence. But as the child grows, society imposes its artificial structures, pulling it away from the Tao. The body becomes something to control and perfect rather than a natural expression of life. Returning to the infant's unconditioned state is to flow with the Tao once more. In Kashmir Saivism, all reality, including the body, is seen as an expression of spanda, universal vibration. The infant, in its fragmented awareness, is closer to this dynamic truth than the conditioned adult, who perceives the body as fixed and separate. Liberation involves reclaiming the awareness of the body as a pulsation of consciousness, not a static object. And so, the journey of the infant gazing into the mirror is the journey of humanity itself. We begin in a state of raw awareness, fragmented and pure, only to be shaped, some might say deformed, by the gaze of society. The body, once a vessel of being, becomes a tool for validation, a performance, an object in the theater of life. But the philosophies remind us that this is not the end of the story. The mirror, though distorted, can still be reclaimed. To look beyond the reflection, beyond the social construct, is to rediscover the body not as an object but as a dynamic process, a transient expression of the infinite. The infant's gaze was never wrong. It simply saw what we have forgotten, that the self, the body, and the reflection are all illusions.